Bom dia a todos. Eu gostaria de agradecer imensamente o convite aos.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank you all and to thank Pope Francis for inviting me here. I'd like to thank the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences for giving me the opportunity to have contacts with other persons in the world who have the same problems we have. The issue of climate change is at the forefront all over the world. No mayor has been able to solve the problems linked to the environmental agenda. We're all involved in the issue of sustainability under many respects: urban mobility, public transportation, individual transportation, quality of life for pedestrians. And we try to limit the use of motor vehicles to as much as we can in an attempt to use a higher number of electric cars. Moreover, in Brazil, ethanol made an important contribution to the environment. Moreover, we tried to diversify transportation by building tramways also for in-town movement. Therefore, there is an attempt to try and lead a different life. Also, urban waste is being dealt with in a new way. Modern technologies make it possible to use a new type of lighting appliances, leading to savings. In Brazil, in Sao Paulo, 600,000 bulbs have been replaced with LED bulbs. We try to draw inspiration from experiences all over the world: wind energy, solar energy, in an attempt to develop new, more environmental-friendly technologies. These are all the things that we are taking into consideration. Even before global warming, we have local warming. Our towns have changed a great deal already. We're not talking about the future, we're talking about the present. Our towns are islands of heat. If we want our citizens to have an acceptable quality of life, the problem of climate change should be tackled not only globally, but also locally. Most of the people who live in the world live in urban centers, and before 2050, 3/4 of mankind will live in towns, mostly in metropolitan areas. In our metropolises, the effects of local heating are deeply felt. There is a great challenge at the local level, trying to draw inspiration from what happens in the rest of the world. The Pope's encyclical letter, Laudato Si, is extremely innovative. It puts together two agendas which were not running in parallel. The environmental agenda should overlap with the social agenda. Both are extremely important. They're essential for our survival, and one issue cannot be solved without solving the other one. This is what we see very clearly. Also in São Paulo, during many political debates, we noticed that what is done to protect the environment goes against the social agenda. It is very important that the building of dwellings for the less favored layers of the population are sometimes take place in areas which have been reserved for environmental protection. That's why having more parks, having more protected areas somehow clashes with the need of finding a dwelling for everybody. Moreover, the quality of water, of basic infrastructures are also very important, and the two agendas are sometimes clashing against each other because of requirements. It is therefore very important to keep into account what the Pope said. Now, a provocative statement. The environmental agenda runs at an advantage vis-à-vis the other one because the former disadvantages both the rich and the poor. The environmental agenda is a damage for all the inhabitants of this planet. If our planet warms up, everybody will have problems. Everybody's quality of life will worsen regardless of their income, of their gender, of their sexual orientation, of the color of their skin. Everybody will have problems. The poor will have more serious problems, but the rich will have theirs too. So the environment is universal. We're all concerned with this aspect, and we all know that any initiative we undertake has consequences. Mayors, governors, presidents should mobilize around this issue. In years, Brazil followed a virtuous circle in an attempt to reconcile the two areas. We tried to focus on environmental issues. If you think of the Amazons, of renewable energies, of biodiesel, Brazil is a very innovative country and plays a very important role in the environmental debate. We are leaders. On the environmental side, we tried to apply a social agenda which helped 20% of the Brazilian population get out, overcome the poverty line. We have a new middle class, what we call the C class, which will now have access to culture, health, education, which they didn't have earlier. And this took place by providing more opportunities and by offering income transfer programs, which were very helpful for the young people in these families who could then attend school. I think we should try to make an effort in order to reconcile these two agendas. The same efforts we made for the environment should be made for the social issues. Everything I've been hearing so far indicates that if we don't solve the issue of hunger in the world, we won't solve the other problems: prostitution, forced labor, bonded labor, and this is also linked to the environment. Therefore, it's now time for me to conclude by saying that it is important to have a multilateral agency focusing on poverty, especially trying to find a solution together with developed countries.
Muito obrigado. Obrigado.